Episode 160 of Mastering Local Marketing. What great salespeople notice, part one. What customers reveal through their questions. Ever notice this pattern? Two customers can ask the same exact question, but only one of them is seriously thinking about buying. Great salespeople learn to hear the difference. They don't simply answer the question. They listen for what the customer is really trying to figure out. We're going to play psychological word games today, and Matt Hansen is just the man to do it. He's the digital marketing professor and a digital marketing guru, and the star of Mastering Local Marketing. How you doing?
I'm good. How was vacation?
It was good, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you filling in and doing what needed to be done. I don't even know what you did while I was on vacation, right? You had a couple people?
We had Chris Barbold on, and we discussed direct mail and how it's kind of making a comeback.
It
and
is.
So it's a really good episode. I think people will learn a lot of different things, but yeah.
One day we'll do a segment on what is making a comeback. I mean, direct mail, I notice a lot more now. It's actually the only mail I get, really. I don't get any bills mailed or anything, right? Do you? I mean, it's mostly online, right?
I still get bills occasionally, but it's just auto payment kind of clarification.
It's like, hey, and then you got to go on the website and look all the way around. Quit sending me that paper bill, and it takes a little while. It took me a while to find it for my bank statement, NIPSCO, and that kind of stuff. But in a weird way, our local media and local content, I shouldn't say local media, local content is being produced more and is much more palatable for companies in the last maybe 6 months to start advertising on. And I don't know what happened. It's just direct mail. I mean, I don't know if people just want things that are local or what, but or they just tired of paying Facebook. I don't know what it is, but there is a switch.
Yeah. What's old is new. It always comes back, right?
Exactly. The question behind the questions. All right, so we get this all the time. Somebody calls up, hey, how much is it? Well, I'm like, well, what do you want? I mean, what are you looking at? Well, how much is it? Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, I have like 5 different media outlets. If you just want to buy radio ads, it's this much, this and this. But really, what are you looking to do? A lot of times, they're just asking how much it is, and then, they don't want anything else, and I don't know what that means. What does it mean?
Yeah, those aren't, again, we're talking about what great salespeople do and how they will listen to what customers are saying in their questions. And what you're getting with that is more of information-based, just collecting different things. So I've done that many times. I've called a variety of mediums and media vehicles that are out there, and how much does this cost? What's the average? And I do those searches pretty regularly on Google as well. But you're trying to get an idea of where something should fall. Now, does that mean that they're ready to buy? Absolutely not. So when you get those, somebody may be asking you about questions about pricing and all that, but they're probably not looking to buy from you at that point. So people that will jump in and, I got to sell this person, they're not ready. They're just getting some information, and a lot of people will hold their pricing near and dear to them and not give it out. But, that's where the questions start to come in, and you start to feel out whether or not they are comparing you to a competitor, right? So if you are a certain price and your competitor's a little bit more, maybe they're asking these questions, right? Like they're trying to get a comparable. I've had this happen to me many, many, many times throughout my career with clients, as well as the marketing that I was running as well. And, it's just, you've got to realize that they're asking questions for a reason. And you can spend the next 15 minutes trying to get more information out of that individual, or you can quickly realize, like, okay, they're just information gathering at this point. So let it be. Let them gather whatever information you can provide. Maybe you have a pricing section on your website or whatever it may be, but don't waste huge amounts of time with people that are just information gathering at that point, because they're not going to buy on that single phone call.
So the phone call, actually, I'll give you an example. I sold one yesterday. person called in, this is what I have. We have an event on July 28th. I think it's July 15th yesterday. So I go, whoa, what are you going to do? And all right, well, how much is it? That was all they wanted. No, I go, well, I don't know, what you got to give in this very crunch of a time. You have to give me some sort of budget so I'm not going to go through a whole proposal process
Right.
for $700 or something. And, that's what they're used to. And I basically said, well, that's how that's got to be. All right, this is what I want, blah, blah, blah. So that process was cut down. It was like, no, there's nothing. It gets done right now on this phone call, or
Right.
it's not going to get done, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool. And I realized, man, I really like that. Here it is. By the end of the day, I think you'll hear the spot here today. And this was on a 1 o'clock phone call last night. But that's not how it usually goes.
No.
Somebody calls in, how does it work? When's a spot going to play? And when are you guys there? And like, all right, I get where you're at, and I will answer some of these phone calls, but I don't consider you in the consideration stage of the funnel.
Right.
You just know who we are. But then there are people coming in, well, how long would it take? Do you guys do the ads? I mean, very specific questions. I mean, they're almost like ready to buy when they come in.
Right.
They're already coming in at the consideration stage. How do you tell the difference?
Well, I think you said it with your caller, right? So they called and they asked about pricing, but they tipped you off to the timing. So if you're smart about that and you're just listening to that, you can give them pricing and move on your way. But they mentioned that things have to move relatively fast, and that is a big indicator when they ask, when can you start? How long does it take? Those types of questions. They're ready to buy because they are under a time crunch, right? So there's a difference between pricing and time. When we've talked about cost and time and everything else through this podcast for many, many episodes. But, timing is a key indicator that they are ready to go. So if they tell you that, oh, well, we're just putting a plan together for 2027, the fall, let's say Q3 of 2027, and we're in the summer of 2026, that they're not in any hurry. They've got time. They're not pressed. But if they're calling you and telling you we've got a week or we've got 2 weeks before this event happens, I think you were smart on that and literally saying this happens now or it's not happening at all. Like, let's work together on this to make sure that we get you to where you need to be. So that's what we mean by they can ask for price, but you listened. You did it very well. You listened for the time constraint, and you said, okay, they're under pressure. They're looking to buy now. It's not just an information gathering at this point. So you were quick to take them from that consideration set to purchasing and being a customer simply by the way they express themselves on that call.
So one of the things that, basically by doing this podcast and taking all of Matt Hansen's classes in the MBA program, it made me realize that, we need a process. We need a marketing department. I've been selling here a lot of money comes in just based on my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been able to do that, and we provide a great product, but I don't really have to go out and create awareness because people already have it. And really what I have to do is create and get them into that second level of the funnel. But I've exhausted that. I've exhausted my relationships, and they're paying every year, and they're excited, and they like the product. And some of them are like, I'm not telling anybody else because it's such a good product at such a low price.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So we're going back right now to retool everything using your lessons, using the funnel. And so the one thing that I would say regarding what salespeople need to notice is that at some level, it has to come to you. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? And I try to tell my guys, well, we're going to, let's call this person and let's try to sell them. I go, no. We're better off using your method, which is do really good marketing, create great awareness. You might make a few contacts of people that but a lot of times it will come to you. And it is a lot different when that phone call comes to you versus you making that phone call.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if you're just calling people trying to sell them on things, you got to realize like we're going through a variety of things every single day, right? So, whether it's the 10,000 emails that I've got or the 7 meetings that I've got, the 3 proposals that need to go out. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, your kids are calling, they need something, right? Like there's all of these things going on in a day. And if you're calling somebody and disrupting that, they're going to have more of a negative feeling toward that. So if somebody is calling you, following up, hey, I've seen your ads everywhere. I want to get more information on this. You start asking those questions. It's a conversation, right? Like if you're calling them, you're breaking up their day. And no matter how many questions you ask them, they're going to feel that way unless they have a significant need right at that point, right? So if you called this person that you just sold, odds are, yeah, they would have taken that phone call and you probably would have sold them on that. But think about how many people are sitting at their desk or in their store or, in their office.
Or more and more at their home.
Right. Or just sitting there and going, oh, you know what? I wish somebody would call me and sell me on this. That's very rare. And so what we're saying is when people call you, and I get it that there's a lot of people out there going, well, how do I get more of that? And that's a different podcast episode. But
we've gone through that many times
Right.
about creating awareness at the top of the funnel. And
Right.
You got to spend some money. You got to spend some time on that. But the call has come in.
right. So the call comes in, and you again, you've got to listen to the questions the way that they're coming in. And I have worked with, I get pulled into our sales students when they go to competition, and I come in as the wild card. I don't necessarily teach them sales, but about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before they go, they bring me in as the buyer, and I throw the real world at them. And it's funny because I start asking questions and they don't pick up on the questions. And I go, here, stop. I just threw you a buying question. And, and we start to walk through all of these things. I go, you have to understand the difference between information questions and buying questions. If I'm just gathering information, I'm not buying today. I'm just collecting it. I'll probably give you, I have to talk with my other partner. I need more time to think about this. Let's circle back, which is I love that. Let's circle back in 2 weeks and, we'll see where we're at. Those are all push-offs, right? So listen for the buying question. And if you can hit on something in that conversation where you get a buying question out of them, go down that path. And it's funny, I was working with a student this past spring, and it was the automotive aftermarket that they were selling in. And I used to be in the automotive aftermarket for a magazine that I sold, or that I worked for. And I was giving them real world scenarios of how this was playing out. And one of the guys watching actually stopped me. He goes, are you making this up, or did you actually live this? I go, this is all real. You picked the perfect person to sit here. And I said, what are you picking up on this? And I'm like, well, you know a lot about it. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the buying questions. I've told you I have an issue here. Here's another issue with the industry. And here's the biggest issue that's causing me problems right now. And I didn't mention price at any of them because price is irrelevant.
All right, well, let's talk about price questions. Mm-hmm. And it's always about price. I mean, if somebody wants to call in and they ask, let's go back to that. I get a lot of, well, how much is it? That's it. That's all they want to know. How much is it? And as soon as that is the first question, I can tell you remember how you talk about, and you could apply this to your own business if you want, or your own marketing department, but we've learned to abide by what you keep bringing it up in a consciousness sort of way, that you get 80% of your money from 20% of your clients. And for the most part, you're going to spend way more time with the other 20% of the money. So in other words, with your smaller client and with your haggling over price and, oh, I don't like this spot. And I personally, and I mean, I don't want to color anybody's small business perspective, but this is from being in the field for a lot of years, is that it never really gelled for me that I don't want that client.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like, people are like, oh, you never got back to me. I go, well, you got my phone number if you want to call me, and here you can buy on the website. These are all real options, but I know you. I want it cheaper, or I know that you require 3 months. Well, I just want to do it for a month. I mean, you start getting all of that. It's like, hey, listen, no, whatever. Just go to the website. You can buy it if you want, and I appreciate your phone call. Thank you. Bye. Now, when does that small to medium-sized business salesperson or owner, if they're sole proprietor, when do they know when? I don't know what moment you would reach, but it's a realization point that it's the Matt Hansen 80-20 rule, and I don't want this 20.
Well, there's a couple ways to look at this, right? So you're taking it from the Pareto principle, which is 80-20, and that 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers, and the headaches, 80% of your headaches come from 20% of your
It's 80-20, 20-80.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you can look at it from that point of view, but let's look at it from a different point of view. So somebody calls you and says, hey, what's the price? Oh, that's too much. Okay, I can give it to you for $1. How about that? Oh, I'd love that. Okay, that's great. We're going to run it one time. Well, that's not going to do anything. Well, that's what you're paying for. There's $1. Now, if you want to work together and you really want to get some results, let us work together and let's buy the package that we know works, and let's go down that path. So if you want to compare us on price, that's fine. There's many options. Please go compare on price. But the way we look at this is we've built our packages because we know that they work for our best customers. And if you want to be one of our best customers, this is where we're heading. Otherwise, they'll sell you an ad for $1, and we'll see how that works, because I guarantee you it's not going to do anything. Now, I know that seems a little, combative. And I'm not saying to go out there and sell it that way. But
you have taught me to be combative. I'll be honest with you. I used to take everything.
Yeah.
And that actually cost me money. Oh, I sold this guy for $900, and he wants a proposal. Oh, he wants a PO number. Oh, they don't like their spot. Oh, they want us to rewrite the spot. Oh, they want us to re-record it. Oh, blah, blah. Now we got to put it on TV. I mean, you could almost tell in that initial phone call. I used to take them all, but now I'm like, I agree with the Pareto principle, and I want to stay with it 80% of the money. Yeah.
No, and it makes sense, right? So, when people start going down the pricing route, the way I look at this is I always say to everyone, if you would pay me 10% of revenue that you bring in, and I can take all your marketing problems away, would you do it? I'm like, absolutely. I go, okay, then why are we talking about price? Like, it doesn't matter. If I'm taking your problems away and I'm producing what you are looking to do, that's a good thing, right? Is my offer, is my product, is my service, whatever it may be, is it providing value to you? What you're saying, if you're coming in here and undermining it, is basically saying, like, you don't value the service that we offer because you don't want to pay for it. And I think it's funny because, I see Hormozy out there posting all the time about, support, pay full price for the people that you know and ask for the discount from people that you don't. But it's always the opposite, right? So I'm sure you get this, and I get this occasionally, where somebody will call me up and like, oh, I know you, like, can you give me a deal? And, my wife does that too. She's, I'll tell her, I'm like, oh, I'm talking with so-and-so. She's like, can you get us a deal? I'm like, it doesn't work that way, right? Like, support those and realize that pricing it's not about pricing. It's about getting what you're looking for. And pricing is the go-to because it's the only thing that people understand until they're led down a different path.
Episode 160, What Great Salespeople Notice. I don't even like that word, salespeople, but it is what it is. And what customers reveal through their questions. Certainly, we've gone through pricing questions and how to basically, basically product market fit discussion, that you're coming back to them is like, hey, here's what the cost is, here's what the results are, and we know this game, and this is how it is. If you want to do price, go ahead, please do that. So let's finish with that. Okay. All of a sudden, they're talking comparison about your prices. Mm-hmm. So they're not saying you're not comparison shopping. you're comparing, I don't know, I guess comparison.
Yeah, option
right?
A, option B.
Yeah, option A, option B. When they get to that point, well, God, what about this one? What's most popular? Blah blah blah. What do you tell them then?
I think you go back to the initial questions that you have with them. What are you looking to do? What are the needs that you really have? I mean, we've got option A, we got option B, we got option C, and they're different tiers, they're different packages, whatever they may be. And how many, you've done this. I've gone to a website and I've looked at different options. I was doing it yesterday. I was looking at okay, well, I think I was on Stripe's website and I was comparing it on some things. And, you start going, okay, well, if this one is, and I think with Stripe, it was like $49 or $150 or something. I don't remember exactly, but you start looking at it and go, all right, well, at $0 to $49, what additional value am I getting? From $49 to $150, what am I getting? And if people are asking you the question like, well, what's the difference between the packages? It means that your marketing is broken. It means that your website is broken, that your marketing materials are broken, or that your salesperson has not clearly defined what the differences between the packages are. And those are things that you need to listen to. So if people are going, I don't like, what's the difference between these two packages? There's a million different things that they've just said to you. One of them is, I'm comparing these two. The second is, I'm willing to go to the second one, but I got to justify how much it is. And 3, I don't understand what I'm getting. Like, what is different in package 2 versus package 1? And, if you listen to that, you go back and go, okay, well, understand package 1 is, our base. It's, you get all of these features, which are really great features. Most people are happy with these, but where are you going? What are you trying to do? And we've had this conversation at this point because it's a sales call or it's in person, and you understand that these 3 other things in option 2 will actually help them get to where they want to be faster. So you say to them, option 2 actually has these 3 features. And from what we've talked about, that's going to help you get to where you need to be faster than if you just do option 1 and try and duct tape it together. By going with option 2, we'll green light this and things will happen much faster and you'll get to where you need to be. So it's well worth the cost because, if you're spending an additional $49 per month, when you look at that over the year, I mean, you're spending $500. Are you going to make more than $500 with using those 3 features? Well, of course you are. Okay, well then it's a no-brainer. Let's go with option 2, right? And those are the things where when they're comparing pricing and they're comparing options, you have to walk back to their needs, their wants, their demands, and that's really important.
He is Matt Hansen. I'm Jim Delo. This has been episode 160 of Mastering Local Marketing. It is always, for now, produced by Adriana Alvarez, who just got her undergraduate, and she had to get out of college here at Purdue Northwest. She had to take Matt Hansen's podcasting course. So this is an automatic shameless plug for Adriana and her podcast network, which is growing. All you got to do is go to Adriana with 2 N's at WJOB1230.com if you want to have your own Mastering Local Marketing. Thanks to both of you. Thanks to you for listening and watching. Till next time, see you later.